Yeah.
Partying all the time. I mean, I partied for nearly 8 years.
What makes you turn your life around?
My new involvement with my lifestyle.
Good evening, Australia. Welcome to the show. I'm Michael Kuzilny, and this show is called Tough Times Never Last, but Tough People Do. Quite a few years have passed, and we've had some amazing guests on the show. The reason behind the show, I've spent the last 30 years in the criminal justice system around Australia, the first 10 as a cop, and then the last 20 as a criminal defence lawyer. And we've had some interesting people. Some people have spent an entire lifetime in prison. They've shared their stories. We've had other people who've had a few weeks to go before they died, but all interesting stories. On tonight's show, we've got the Godfather, Drago. He has spent quite a few years behind bars. He's been involved in drugs, prostitutes, a life in crime, but he's turned his life around at last. Drago, thank you very much, my dear friend. I finished court the other day, and I was driving through Coburg and I saw the old Pentridge, you know, and I just parked there and I just admired all the walls and stuff, because I used to go there years ago to see clients. You spent some time in there, didn't you?
Blue Stones, yes.
Yeah.
I was in H Division.
Were you?
Yes.
What for?
What for? It was, I think, the robbery and also carrying a gun.
Was it an armed robbery, Drago?
No. The robbery was I broke into a house.
Yeah.
And stole a few $1,000s worth of jewellery.
Oh, you gave your mum and dad a hard time, didn't you?
Big time.
Because you came from former Yugoslavia when you were a teenager.
Yes, Croatia.
And then you got and then you started living a life in crime.
Yes, I did, because I wouldn't. I started because I ended up having a bad time in school. So I started not going to school. I started hanging out on the streets and mixing up with guys, and we ended up robbing cars, and I started very young stealing. Yeah, I became virtually a professional thief by the time I was 16.
And I heard through actually I heard through Henry Nissen you're a good fighter. You could handle yourself in the street.
Yes, I can fight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I did judo and karate.
You did all that, so you sort of fought with a local constabulary?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see in quite a the movies people chopping up cocaine. You would have snorted quite a few cocaine over the years.
Oh, many. Yes.
And I'm sure a lot of our viewers have snorted, cocaine. Some of the viewers, not all of them, back in those days, and it's certainly not a good thing. But that's your life, and I appreciate you coming on. And with crime, with drugs, there was also prostitutes.
Prostitutes, yes. We're selling girls on the street.
In St Kilda?
In St Kilda.
And St Kilda's changed so much, but you still live there?
Yes, I've come back to St Kilda.
After New York?
After New York, yes.
But tell me the progression usually, Drago, is you get into a bit of trouble. It's usually the children's court, then the magistrate's court, and then usually sort of the county court or something. You end up with a prison term. Was there many court appearances before you did actually jail time?
A lot. There's a lot. They always try to bail me out to avoid the prison term. But I end up in boys' homes, and then I come out and I start all over again. And hanging out, because I wouldn't stay at home, I wouldn't live at home, so I ended up living on the streets. By the time I was 16, I had girls working for me also in St Kilda.
Isn't it amazing, folks, isn't it? Some people, they come out of prison and they find most of their mates are behind bars, so they commit more crime trying to get back in, because it's a lot of prisons are like a 3-star holiday resort, aren't they?
Well, not those days, but these days it is.
These days they
These
are.
days they're very sophisticated.
Drago, all up, how old are you now?
Well, I'm 65.
You're only a young fella. Life starts at 50. How many years all up behind bars?
At least 7, 8 years.
So you did all right.
8 years.
You didn't get caught for everything.
No.
You didn't get caught for everything, but
No, but if I did, I would have been for life.
you've been doing 7 life terms back to back.
Back to back.
But Drago, you got a good heart. You got a good heart. You've seen the ways, and if there's any sort of crime doesn't pay, does it?
No, not at all.
It was just the times you went through.
Well, yeah, like in New York, because I couldn't get work there because I didn't have a social security number. I couldn't get welfare. I couldn't get any help at all.
Before you went to New York, Pentridge. Tell us about the Pentridge days.
Pentridge Day was pretty rough, because in those days they were totally tough. And we're talking about H Division, and that's where I ended up, because I was always fighting with the inmates and things like that. And they put me on lockdown 24/48. But
Did you almost kill a man in there?
yes, I did.
Why?
Because he tried to rape me.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did you build him up?
Oh, I killed him. I nearly killed him.
Did you? Did you get further time?
Yes, I got an extra 2 years out of it.
Oh, yes, it went back to court. Do you
Yes.
remember what the judge said when he resentenced you?
He said, yeah, you keep coming back to me, you end up in there forever.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
And in those days, because I remember in those days I was working
They
in
were
the system,
breaking rocks in those days.
but you were still getting a bashing from the prison guards, weren't you? They
Yes.
come in with their batons and
Oh,
beat people up,
Oh, you have no idea how violent they were.
Yeah.
They were beating them up. Oh, yes, that very violent officers. There were just no charm like they are today, or well educated. They were really tough cookies, and no, they had to be tough cookies because in those days there was a lot of tough guys around. I mean, they would kill you in a heartbeat.
And isn't it funny, folks? People always say prison and prison officers, but we've been speaking to thousands of people on this couch who have done prison time, and they say I had a drug addiction before I went to prison, and I had a drug addiction when I got out of prison. So drugs do get into prisons. We'll ask Drago after the break how they get into the prisons. But it's tough times never last. We'll be back very shortly. Don't go away. Thank you so much for watching. I can see you on the couch there cuddling up. It's tough times never last. If you go through a difficult issue, remember tomorrow's another day. Just make sure to just wake up and, if you think about your problems too much, we really turn those problems into mental monsters. So I wake up with the philosophy of forget self, live simply, and scatter sunshine. Always important to show a lot of kindness. Drago showed a lot of kindness over the years, but he was also a tough man. Spent about 10 years behind bars for the stuff he got caught. If he got caught for everything, he reckons he'd be doing 7 live terms back to back. But did about 5 years at Pentridge. Been married 3 times. Sold on prostitutes in St Kilda. And then he moved to New York. But these days you travel and you can't even have a drink driving offence against you, but in those days it didn't matter, did it?
No, not at all.
What made you go to New York, and how old were you, Drago?
Well, I was in my mid-30s.
Yeah.
30s.
Were you with the wife then?
I ended up marrying a Japanese girl.
And she came on the plane?
Huh?
She came on the plane?
No, I met her in New York.
Oh.
I met her in the middle of 42nd Street. You ever heard of 42nd Street?
I did. I was there 3 years ago. But Drago, tell me about the trip. You jumped on Qantas?
Qantas, yes.
You decided to
Just
take off?
Just take off. Yeah, I got tired of Australia. and I wanted to enhance my life, and I mean, and I was looking for big money also, and I thought New York would be the place to go and make big money.
And what happened when you got there?
Oh, all sorts of stuff. I couldn't get it wasn't easy. I ended up doing burglaries and for rich people, mostly famous people, and clothes designers, Holston, and
Did you meet some other people there who were burglars?
I met other canaries.
They just flocked to you, I suppose.
Yeah.
And viewers, Drago was telling me he ended up getting into some sort of a cocaine syndicate, very pure cocaine, and he had about $500,000 worth of cocaine on him. And then even in those days, the police investigators must have watched him or something, and then he lost it all.
6 months.
And then the investors were after him, because I can imagine people putting money into that cocaine deal, and that $500,000 was probably going to turn into
Millions.
a few million.
Millions.
But then once that's gone, that's when the shit hits the fan, Drago, yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah, shit hits the fan.
Absolutely.
So what happened there? You who entrusted you to sell on such a large amount of cocaine?
John Gotti. Mafia.
And where were you going to take it? I know that man.
Yeah.
He's still alive, isn't he?
He's doing 50 years.
Is he?
Yeah.
And where were you going to sell this stuff?
In New York, nightclubs, discos, all the after-hours places. You get a clientele, and then you got all the dealers who want to buy from you.
So you thought you're going to really cash up and then maybe get a house in Beverly Hills? You did.
I did, but I blew it.
You had a lavish lifestyle.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about that lifestyle. Tell us about
living in limousines and going out to nightclubs and living high. Rich penthouse apartment with a swimming pool.
And you were with a Japanese wife at the time?
Had a Japanese wife.
Were you snorting cocaine, doing the old
I was snorting every day, sniffing.
And was the purity different in those days?
It was directly from Colombia. Got direct source from Colombia. Had Colombian connections, and I started off with $700, and that making of it. Then got into 50,000, and then it ended up having people working for me and selling and buying at quantity, large quantity.
Were you a tough boss?
I was very strict.
Yeah?
Very strict. I had to be.
Yeah.
Because these people, they would take...
they would.
Use you and burn you.
They'd lie, cheat. They'd be you know.
Couldn't let away.
No.
Couldn't let them get away with anything. You know, if they were under.
What's the worst thing you did to a person who ripped you off? Did you shoot them?
I can't say that on this.
No, maybe.
Broken legs, maybe.
And Drago, what happened when you're living this lavish lifestyle? You ended up getting.
When you live this rich lifestyle in New York, you end up going to rich nightclubs, meeting top entertainers and clothes designers and very, very Andy Warhol, Holston.
And it's quite amazing, folks. People can be quite arrogant and sleazy, can't they? Humans, I mean. I remember at the Crown, you see all these, when all the underworld figures were still alive, I'd see them there. Because I see them in the courts all the time, and they'd flash their pockets with $100,000 cash there and a revolver and that thing. But they always had influential friends around them, because a lot of people who are materialistic just love people with money, and they don't even care how they got the money, But we all know what happened to those underworld figures. They're all gone. They all got shot and killed. It seems like life's got a perfect accounting system, whatever comes around goes around. But you weren't shot or killed.
Nearly.
You're still here, bro. You're still here to tell the story, bro.
It was good I got away.
I'm glad I didn't run into here years ago. We've been fist fighting. So you got caught and they took the cocaine away.
Yes.
That's every drug dealer's worst nightmare.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, and they don't produce it in court either.
No.
They keep it.
They keep
resell it.
So then you thought, shit, all that money. What happened then?
I get accountable for the loss. I'm accountable because I'm accountable to the mafia.
So when the cocaine got taken, the handcuffs got slapped on, yeah?
Yes.
And then to court again?
I went to court.
What?
Ended up
You might talk about that court case and the 5 years prison time. We've got Drago on the couch. Don't go away. A very interesting story from this young fella. Welcome back to the show. I'm Michael Kuzilny. In the break, Drago was saying to me that the first 50 years are life in crime. Well, maybe not when he was a child, but as a teenager, he got himself into a lot of strife: prostitutes, drugs, and rock and roll. He liked dancing, liked a bit of boxing. Spent time at Penrith behind tough prison walls. Almost killed a man there because he alleges somebody tried to rape him. And then he decided to take off to New York and met some fellow crooks there, got into some cocaine trafficking, and then spent 5 years behind bars in New York.
Yeah.
For the offences of...
It was a federal case.
Drug trafficking.
Yeah. It was,
do they have a death penalty then?
They do. What, in New York?
In those days?
In those days, yeah.
Not for that sort of offence.
No, I haven't.
Can you remember, Drago, what the judge said to you when he put down the hammer, and whether you pleaded guilty or not guilty?
Well, if I hadn't have pleaded guilty and I went to trial, I would have got 50 years. They offered me a deal of 5 years, or go to trial and get 50 years.
Did you have any money left to pay the lawyer?
I know. Oh no, the lawyer cost me everything.
Oh.
The lawyer is the one that cost me everything.
Do you think lawyers are sometimes worse than the drug dealers?
Absolutely.
All right, moving right along. Drago, tell us about the prison system in New York.
Well, they're very tough places.
Yeah.
It's not very easy to... I went to the toughest place in New York. It's Lewisburg. It's a very big place. It has like maybe 20,000 in the prison.
That many?
That big. And if you're walking down, you can't talk in the hallways. Not allowed to talk in the hallways. You're locked down 14 hours a day. 14, 15 hours. It's not like you come out for 3 meals a day, and then you get locked up for 4 hours. Then you go out for a meal, and then you get locked up again. And then you go out for exercise for 2 hours, and back to the cell. It's not like... No, there's no.
Drago, do you miss the prostitutes?
Well, yeah, I used to have a lot of fun with them.
Drago was saying in the break, I said, have you got a woman now? And he says, oh, no. He said, when you have drugs, you have women. With no drugs, no women.
No drugs, no money, no women.
And we're certainly not glorifying crime, but we're just reflecting on a life in crime and how this beautiful man has turned his life around, and he's thinking, gee, what a journey. That was a waste of time.
Sure was.
A waste of time.
Well, yes, because if I'd saved my money, it would have been all right.
A waste of time, but when you reflect back, there's also beauty in the messiness of life, isn't there?
There is craziness.
Craziness.
Beautiful things happen,
Yeah.
It's you meet all these crazy people.
Yeah.
You're partying all the time. I mean, I partied for nearly 8 years,
And all the people who might have to spend time behind bars, they say, oh, it's difficult, Michael, but they say, but think about some of the good times you even had with inmates in prison. All areas, all decades, there's excitement and there's joys and there's sorrows, isn't there?
You know what? There's more drugs in prison than there's outside.
Well, how do they get in there?
Up your ass.
Yeah?
Balloons.
Still.
Over the wall, they get thrown.
Yeah.
They get them in. They got guards, they pay the guards.
Yeah.
Thousands of dollars they pay for big-time people. they get paid off.
Yeah. So now that you've seen, the real crime gangs in overseas, what did you think of our Melbourne underworld? Do you think they were just a bunch of boys who wanted to be evil?
No, you got some pretty dangerous guys in Australia.
Yeah.
Very, very big time and very serious people here.
Still?
Very serious.
Now that all those people were shot, those 16, in the last sort of few years, have we got new syndicates?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, more sophisticated.
Smarter,
more educated.
They're not killing each other yet?
They're not killing each other.
No.
No. There's no war claims. The old days it was like territories, but now it's like businessmen,
silent partners. Yeah.
Believe it or not, lawyers.
Yeah, and I can see that.
You know,
and I can see that. I know a lot of. I get told that certain people you'd never expect to be importing.
Judges.
Importing, in container ships and stuff.
Oh, the importing is. There's very smart people dealing with that end of it, and they're people who have been educated, and not coming up from the streets, but educated. But sophisticated in the crime spree, bringing drugs and other assortments.
So you, Drago, were an old-time crook.
I'm an old-time
crook.
Yeah, I'm old-time.
Now it's all different. Now you look. What do you think now when you see these people?
Very clever individuals.
But what about all this ice epidemic? What do you think about that?
The ice is the worst.
Yeah.
That's the worst. That's worse than Coke.
Yeah.
It's much worse than Coke. It's more dangerous.
Do you see it in the streets of St Kilda?
I've seen it. It's all over the place.
What made you turn your life around?
Just saw the beauty, the other side of the fence, and things, and also my new involvement with my lifestyle. Also, as an artist, I became an artist and an actor.
Wow. What sort of artist? Painting?
Commercial, yes, paintings.
Wow.
I have some incredible stuff.
Yes, it's a much more fun life being creative, isn't it?
More simple.
Simplicity is beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, because when if I only knew this years ago, it would have been much simpler for me.
Yeah.
And I would have stayed with being the creative person.
Yeah. Because there's nothing worse.
But then again, you see all these people in New York, and they're all already well-established artists and creative people, and their use of drugs, it's just phenomenal. And they buy it by the thousands of dollars and spend $10,000 like this.
Drago, thank you so much for coming on. We're running out of time. We'll have you on again, but you're a very interesting man. I'm glad you turned your life around, and love and best wishes to all our viewers. Certainly an amazing story, and I'm happy he turned his life around. And Drago says crime doesn't pay.
No.
Love and best wishes. Good night, and we'll
Crime
speak to you next week.
No.
All the best.